Well, welcome to Sarcastic Remarks alongside Chris, and my name is Ryan. I don't even know what to say after that game. The Dallas Stars take a 3-1 lead going into the third period against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then they completely and 100% blow it, and they lose 6-4 in the third period, and the Carolina Hurricanes only play 10 minutes. It is taking every ounce of me not to rage right now, Chris. So I'll let you have the floor first before I start going off because it'll come at some point.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was the worst period of hockey we've played all season. Maybe more than that, maybe the last couple seasons. But the YouTube comments section is already calling for Ryan to come with his angry eyes, so I'm not going to stand in the way. Uh, so you can go ahead and be emotional for everybody that's listening right now. So go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a question first, and then I'll get into it. All right. So the let's try to look at it logically first because I'm trying. I have two sides of my brain: the logical and then the emotional side of this. Okay. the the logical part of my brain is wondering whether this is just a freak of nature one-off game that happens once every 3 years or if this is something that we need to be worried about moving forward. And I'm kind of scared to hear your answer, Chris.
Yeah, the problem is that this game is kind of a microcosm of everything that's going wrong with the Stars so far this season. Uh, so the Hurricanes technically have 3 special teams goals, but we all really know it's really 4 because the other goal, the first was it the first goal? The first goal of the third period really came right after the Stars power play when they essentially had 4 people on the ice. They had one guy that was skating to the bench that wasn't playing. So realistically, 2 shorthanded goals, 2 power play goals, and the top line again isn't able to produce. You can technically say, I guess Miro did whenever he was on the ice with the top line, but Johnson won a good face off, and then Miro did some Miro things. That's really what happened. It wasn't the top line doing anything in particular, and that's especially coming after Rope Hintz has a fantastic opportunity on a breakaway right after we give up the lead. Rope Hintz can come in, take control of the game, bounce us right back, get us right back in the game with a big breakaway goal, and he misses it again. That is horrible. And again, our best line is Duchesne, Sagan, and Marchment. And that's great. They're playing fantastic. They're playing way better than they ever did last year. That's really good. They shouldn't be our top line, though. They shouldn't be our only offense. Also, again, we fail to win a game whenever we allow more than 3 goals. I mean, I know Otter had a bad night tonight. 2 goals that really shouldn't go in. The first shorthanded goal is really bad. The last go-ahead goal for the Hurricanes, obviously a little bit fluky, but I feel like you got to be a little bit more aware, a little bit more reactionary. There it goes off his stick and into his own net. That was rough. But we have to find a way to win games when we allow more than 3 goals every once in a while. I mean, there's no way we're relying on our defense and our goaltending to win all those games like that. So, yeah, it's a little bit fluky because they play the worst period ever in the third period. That's probably not going to happen again, but you can turn around and point to all these things that are recurring problems for the team that aren't getting addressed, especially the special teams, especially the power play. How is that not addressed? I mean, we are consistently getting scored on shorthanded. This isn't a one-off thing. We're consistently turning the puck over at the attack blue line, and it's a 2-on-1 the other direction. It's happening consistently. We're not scoring goals on the power play. It's happening consistently, and there hasn't been a good adjustment. So it's a fluke because it's probably not going to happen this badly again, but we are seeing all the bad parts of the Stars that just kind of collapse together in the worst period that we're going to see all year, probably.
You did a really good job setting me up there, Chris. I could just feel the fuel firing me right now. Okay, so here we go. You ready? It was just like there was this, and then this, and then this, and then this. It was like a nagging wife. Like you were just like nag, 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 and now I've got all of that pent up anger. So here we go. That there are so many things that I could go off on right now. First off, the special teams needs to be fixed. And we've been talking about this for weeks and for weeks and for weeks. Something has to change. Something. Something has to change. And yes, the penalty kill let us down here tonight. And that's even more frustrating because that's the thing we should be able to rely upon, our fourth ranked penalty kill. We took stupid penalties at stupid times. I know some people were saying the Marchment penalty was not a good penalty by the refs. That was a good call. That was a clear call. I thought that was fair. The Johnston one, yes, I thought that was fair too. But you even if you didn't think that was not a fair power play, you still have a freaking chance to kill off the power play. You have 2 opportunities to get rid of the penalty kill, to take care of it, and they didn't take care of business. You go into the third period with a 2-goal lead, in a game that the other team had absolutely no business being in, and you allow 5 goals in the third period. This team is not a Stanley Cup contending team if you play like crap like that. It's absolutely freaking ridiculous. And I don't. The other part of it is I don't understand. This is the thing I'm most hacked off about. They just sat back on the power play at the beginning of the third period. That's what started all of this. I'm just sitting here looking at it and thinking like they couldn't even get set up in the zone, and I'm thinking you're just gonna let them get back in this game. And sure enough, literally not even a second after the penalty expires, there's a goal in the back of their net. And I'm like, here we go. At that point, I knew the game was over, and I knew that they were gonna win. I did. Even when Miro scored and tied it back at 4, I was just like, it doesn't matter. It absolutely 100% doesn't matter. Ottinger was not good tonight. The first goal, that should never go in. That should absolutely never go in. And then you could also say, okay, well, the 5th goal was an absolute fluky goal. Yeah, that's fine. And you know what? It doesn't matter if your offense gives you goals and finishes plays like they're supposed to. And I know some people are going after Mush for his penalty and then not finishing off that goal. His line is the only thing that's freaking doing anything.
Yeah.
Johnston, I mean, I love Johnston to death, and I love Rope and I love Robo, but they ain't doing jack crap right now. And then it is a one-line team right now that we're relying upon for our offense. We got 3 goals and completely blew it. I don't know what else to say about this other than the Stars just absolutely sucked it up. They played for 40 minutes. They played for 40 minutes, let them come back in, didn't play for 10 minutes, and then sat on their hands for the last 10 and said, boo-hoo, poor me. I'm sorry. If you play like this consistently, I was honestly thinking in the second period, I was like, okay, this is great. Absolutely great. Consistency is here. We're seeing it for like the 3rd or 4th game in a row. The Stars play a great style of hockey, especially on the road. And it all gets flipped on its head in a matter of 10 minutes. Sorry.
Can I talk now?
Yes, you can. Sorry. How long was that? It's like 4 or 5
that
minutes.
wasn't as. We've had some longer ones, so that one wasn't too bad. But now that Ryan's gotten that out of the system, we'll start reeling it back in a little bit. I think we both drilled into it pretty good. Obviously, worst 20 minutes of hockey, I would say, in the past 2 years. Probably past 2 years. It felt a lot like the Oilers thing, where like we played so good for 40 minutes and we just do nothing on special teams. That really hurt. I'm seeing a lot in the comments, some bagging on Otter. Jacob here saying Otter might need some rest. Let the Smith play Chicago and Colorado to let him rest up. We need to remember we haven't won a game where we have allowed more than 3 goals. So Otter has had a fantastic start to the season. Yes, this game was bad. This was a bad game for Otter. Absolutely. But by and large, he's had a fantastic start to the season. And he's right now a top 10 goalie in the NHL, and he's playing like it. So he had a bad game tonight for sure. We can blame him for that, but that's not going to be the long-term issue. We haven't won a game without Otter. I mean, the fact that we're probably one of the few teams that hasn't won a game when allowing 3 or more goals. I mean, there's been some crazy scoring lines so far this year. So I would hold back on the Otter stuff. I think Otter had a really good year. We can go look at his season-long stats. We don't have James or Statman here, and I don't have him handy, but he's well over a 900 save percentage. I bet he's under 3 for goals against average. Not worried about Otter at all. in my opinion.
And I agree with you. It's he did not have a good game here tonight, but it wasn't just
Correct.
him. It was everybody. And here's the frustrating thing: you can't say that he had a bad night. I don't think any of them had a bad night. They had a bad 10 minutes, and it screwed them over for the whole game.
Yeah. Oh, I think
It
Otter
really
did
did.
have a bad night actually, because that first goal was horrible. And some people said he looked fidgety. Jacob again backing himself up. We'll give you that comment too. He looked fidgety. I kind of agree with that. He didn't look super comfortable tonight, and I think that probably led to having a bad night. But like I said, over the season and what he's done so far, not worried about Otter.
Um, okay, let's get into special teams a little bit more logically here tonight because, and I'm just gonna pull up this tweet and let everyone see it here. Daily Dallas Hockey. Parents just put this under my Christmas tree. Can't wait to open it. And for those of you that are listening on the audio side, it's obviously a bike that's wrapped, and then it says, "I hope it's a new special teams coach." And this is obviously a dig at Stars assistant coach Steve Spott. He's been under the microscope a little bit, especially with the power play being as bad as it has been. But I mean, I've never heard of an assistant coach getting fired in the middle of the season. But is that something we're looking at? I highly doubt it.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen. Spot has been DeBoer's right hand man for a long time, and also don't remember last season. Spot had a top 10 power play unit going. They were a top 10 power play unit. Steve Spot was the coach of that unit as well. So
That
there's
disappeared in the
something to be
playoffs when
said
it
there.
mattered more than anything.
Correct. Yes, and I am agreeing with that again. Uh, I think if there ever was a time that an assistant coach would be fired from an NHL team, now might be one, but I don't think it's going to happen. And I just think it's not really worth talking about a lot anymore, in my opinion. I'm sure all four coaches for the Stars are putting their heads together and trying to figure out this power play. It's not just Steve Spott getting 15 minutes after practice with the team to try and figure it out. All four of those guys are figuring it out. So I somewhat agree. I think it would be helpful to hear something fresh, especially with how bad it is, considering how good of quality players we have on the offensive side. But it's not going to happen. So I'm kind of, it's not going to happen. So why are we going to keep talking about it? Is my opinion.
So here's this kind of, I want to jump off at this point to another point. Eric here saying, hard to imagine that a 40-year-old Pavs was so dang good that we now can't do a dang thing. Come back, Pavs. At some point, it has to be on the players, though, too, Chris. Like
absolutely.
this can't. This is not just a Steve Spott thing, because I mean, Steve Spott can coach as hard as he possibly can, but if the players are not willing to buy into the system and do what they're supposed to do and what has worked in the past, then they're not going to be successful.
Right. And there's no coincidence that our top line players who are all on the first unit power play are all struggling. I mean, that's going hand in hand, in my opinion.
So on top of that, the penalty kill was atrocious tonight. The two times that we needed them to get a stop, it didn't happen. The second one, I don't really blame them on. But again, if you take care of business and you score on your scoring chances, then you're allowed to have those fluky goals happen every once in a while. Today, it was unacceptable because of the circumstances.
Yeah, penalty kill is in the same department tonight that I think Jake Ottinger is. I mean, the penalty kill has been great all year. It was really bad when it really couldn't be tonight, and that led to worst period we've seen in a while. So I'm chalking that one up to just a horrible period, and we're gonna move on for that one because by and large, as well as with Otter, has been great. The penalty kill has been great so far this year. I'm not worried about that long term, but yeah, it's got to be clutch. And we've also seen times like in the Edmonton series where we needed a penalty kill and we just couldn't get that clutch one when we made that one bad penalty. So there's something to be said there a little bit, I think. But overall, I wouldn't be too worried about the penalty kill long term.
What did you think about the Stars play in the first two periods? I guess we'll talk about something positive that means absolutely nothing because of what happened in the third period.
Yeah, it was good. Especially the Duchesne line. I mean, I don't know how, but it looked like they should have scored every time they were on the ice. That was insane. But overall, the first two periods was just kind of bad hockey by both teams too. Like it wasn't a ton of shots, but every chance that was given up felt like a grade A chance. Um, I haven't seen the Canes play that bad of defense in a really long time. They were ditching the defensive zone so quickly, and that's what led to so many chances for the Duchesne Marchment Sagan line. They kept picking pockets and making plays, and they got so many cross crease passes. And yeah, they should have scored a ton more. They had a lot more chances.
The Mush chance when he was basically behind Spencer Martin, that obviously that one looms large after this game today.
Yeah.
There's lots of other things that happened in the game as well that was just super frustrating. But the thing that we got to remember about all of this, Chris, is that our best players are still not being our best players overall.
Yeah.
I made a comment about it when Miro scored. And I literally, like, probably 2 minutes before, I said, this is where we need our best players to be our best players. Someone needs to step up.
Absolutely.
Miro did, and he did his job. And Johnston did as well by winning the faceoff. We
And that
got
was
Rope Hintz not scoring on a breakaway. We also got Rope Hintz passing the puck off when he's in the slot to Robertson when Robertson is covered. Those two guys have to figure it out. I mean, there's nothing else to really say other than those two guys need to figure it out, or there's going to be a giant line juggling issue going on. Because and we may I don't know what else to say about those two guys. We've been preaching this for weeks now, Chris.
Yeah, and they know they've got to figure it out. It's not like they don't know it. They're having their worst seasons too. I'm sure that feels horrible for them, but yeah, they do got to figure it out, or the Stars don't have a top line, which isn't good. So they do absolutely have to figure it out. And I thought when Miro scored that's a huge chance. This could turn what was a horrible period into a statement game. Like to rally back after such a horrible start to that period behind one of your best players, Miro Heiskanen, probably our best player, Miro Heiskanen, who does it himself really and dangles on the blue line, has a great shot to tie the game back up. What a story to pull that one out. That would be a huge rallying point. And then like we saw, to give it up later is just, man, it hurts, especially on one of the things that this team is so proud of and is so good at in the penalty kill.
I want to pull this up too. Sorry, Chris. I'm taking an immediate right turn here, but the Canes are a good team. They were playing poorly the first two periods. I frankly don't give a crap. If a team is playing badly, you better be beating them. And this is just another thing that would be really interesting to look at. I would be really interested to see what the Stars' strength of schedule would be compared to the rest of the league, compared to the Jets, compared to the Wild, who are above us right now in the Central Division. I wish James was here to help us look that sort of stuff up. But you have to beat the bad teams, but you have to beat the good teams too. And I'm not saying that it's not okay to lose, because it is okay to lose as long as you play your best. But that obviously was not our best here tonight. And I don't care that if the Canes are a good team and they were playing bad the first two periods. You let them come back in, and they only had to play 10 minutes tonight. That's it. They had to play 10 minutes, and that got them the lead twice. They went 4-3 and then 5-4.
Yeah.
So they need to figure out how to beat the good teams.
One other thing we need to get to from the comments is Dumba. I don't know why I'm picking on Jacob tonight, but I am. Dreadful Dumba. I like that one. He had another bad game tonight. I mean, right before the first Marchment goal, Dumba makes a horrible play that should have cost the Stars a goal right there to tie it up. With I guess he's jumping at his own blue line, trying to play the puck to himself. When I mean, it looked like a lazy play. It looked uninspired, and he looked pretty bad all night until he just tried to crack someone's skull at the end of the game and not really make a play, I feel like. So I don't know. I'm not liking Dumba at all so far. I think he's been really bad. Again, he plays only 13.52 tonight, second lowest on the team. And we're right back where we were at the start of last season. Miro Heiskanen, 26-28 time on ice. He is over 5 minutes more than anyone else on the blue line for the Stars. So the moves we made in the offseason to try and bolster the right side, I would say have failed.
And that really sucks because Lundqvist has played well and he's hurt, and Lyubushkin has been very good for the Stars this year, and Dumba can't figure it out.
Yeah, and where Lyubushkin is doing his job with 18 minutes, I mean, if you told me Lyubushkin would play 18 solid minutes a night, I'd be super happy with that. That we're expecting Dumba to be a guy that can play 20 minutes a night and play it solidly and be a good defenseman. And he's not even close to doing that. He's at 1352 because he can't be trusted because he keeps getting beat, and he's playing against the other team's worst forwards. It's looking like a really horrible deal right now.
It's really frustrating today, and just I don't know.
Who would have thought this time last year we would be saying, "Can Nils please come back?" That is crazy.
Jacob is he's on the same wavelength as both of us, isn't he? Just as a side note on Nils, for those of you that don't know, he is 100% injured. He was, I think it was Sam Nessler of DLLS. He was at practice this morning, and he was watching the scratches, who obviously didn't play here tonight, Blackwell and Lundqvist. And Lundqvist apparently tried to do some sort of drill or something, or Blackwell put a little bit of pressure on him or something like that, and he was wincing in pain. And he was hacked off that he was in pain, that he slammed his stick on the boards and broke his stick. So he's not. You need something here. This may be a Petrovic time. I know it seems crazy to me, but Petrovic played in the playoffs. He can give you a solid 12, 13, 14 minutes. We saw that. He only had a couple of games that I thought he was atrocious in. Smith has stepped up as the number 6 guy, honestly, and Dumba needs to be sat. There needs to be a lot of heart to heart here tonight. If I was the coach.
Yeah, and this is definitely one of those games where you have a team meeting afterwards, I would think. So we're also going to see what this leadership group is like after losing Pavelski. Hey, maybe he's the key to the power play and the key to the leadership. Maybe we can't do either. So, yeah, I expect to see some changes, some kind of. I mean, this is a tipping point game. Something's got to change after this in multiple departments.
And maybe this is where Pete DeBoer needs to take over the power play. I mean,
if he hasn't taken it over by now, then I don't think he's doing his job.
Yeah. Okay. I'm tired of talking about this. So let's do biggest winner, biggest loser. Who you got?
Biggest winner, Matt Duchene. Oh my goodness. He is by far the Stars' best forward. I mean, he has had an outstanding season. Thank goodness he kept the pay cut to keep playing with us for another year. I fully believe he could have signed for $5 million somewhere else. I mean, easily he could have gotten that money, especially with the season he had last year. So thank goodness we have Duchene. If he can keep this up all season long and all throughout the playoffs, and we get our top line getting at least somewhere near what they were doing before, is going to be a dangerous hockey team.
Okay, who do you have for your biggest loser?
Biggest loser. Oh, I was going to wait while you were talking about your biggest winner. So I'll just give my biggest loser to Otter because he had a really bad game. I mean, I know I defended him earlier, and I am going to defend him. I don't think long-term he's going to be an issue. But, yeah, he didn't look good tonight. I agree with what the comments were saying. He just looked off. I agree with that. And, man, you really just needed just one more save, I feel like. I mean, even on that penalty kill at the end of the game, like, I know that one was fluky, but it feels like that's a position where your $8 million goalie can take over and just say, shut up, team, I'm getting us a point. Like, that's when it feels like you need something like that, and we couldn't get it.
I'm going to give my biggest loser to the just the Stars special teams here tonight. I would have said just the power play, but when the penalty kill doesn't do you any favors and you go 0 for 2 on the penalty kill, and then you go 0 for 2 on the power play and go -2 on the power play, yeah, it's special teams in general. So and just the lack of effort in the third period is also the biggest loser. I haven't had a game like this in a very long time where I've been able to rant like I did tonight. And even tonight wasn't one of my bigger rants. I've had way bigger rants
Yeah, you did a
in
good
the
job.
past. Yeah, I controlled it for the most part, but that's the biggest loser for me. The biggest winner, I'll give it to Miro, because we're gonna
It's a
have to
huge
rely
goal.
upon him. We're gonna have to rely upon him to continue to play 25, 26 minutes a night, and because we just haven't been able to figure out our decor. And this was another thing I was thinking about after the game as well, is I don't think that Jim Nill is going to wait for the trade deadline to make a trade for another top 4 defenseman. If it's gonna, I mean, it's been like this for weeks now, Chris, and we're 25% through the season, and the decor has not been good, and we're having to rely upon Miro to play as much as he is in order to just to get wins out. And it's not worth it now to run him out of his battery in order just to make the playoffs or get top 3 in the Central Division, and then he's nowhere near as effective like he was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
This kind of opens a can of worms, but I'm gonna just throw it out and then we'll close the pod. But I don't think we're getting a defenseman in the trade. I think we are all in on Bischel coming up, and I think right now we're waiting as long as we can to let him progress as much as he can in the AHL, because he is progressing a good bit. The key thing that he's working on right now is consistently doing the right thing. He has all the skills he needs to be a NHL defenseman. He just needs to do it every single night. And he has for the most part. He's been really consistent, and it's just these little hiccups here and there that he's ironing out. And he's played probably maybe not half, maybe a third of the games he's playing on the right side with Kyle Capobianco, who is a puck moving defenseman, similar style, much less skill, but similar style to Miro Heiskanen. So I think we're going to see Bichsel at some point, more so than a trade for a defenseman.
Well, I hope you're right, because then that also means that the Stars are not wasting.
Not Bichsel. Sorry,
Bichsel. Yes. That I hope you're right, because that also means that the Stars are not wasting any kind of assets to go out and fix their problems and just trying to put a Band-Aid on it instead of just looking within the organization. So I really hope you're right, Chris, but I just don't see it. I think he wants to keep Bichsel down there for the full season, including the playoffs. And the only way I could see something bad happening like that is if we see one of our top 4 guys go down. Then you would see Bichsel get called up and play in the top 4 for Dallas too. So that's my guess. It would be my guess. Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, that's
anyways, guys, thank y'all for following along here with us this evening. Along with Chris, my name is Ryan. This has been Sarcastic Remarks. Thank you to our sponsors, Raycon, DraftKings, and Game Time. Use that promo code THPN the next time you are there. Sarcasticremarks.com is the website. If you're listening on the audio side, wherever you're listening, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. That's the best way to help us grow. Follow us on social media at StarcasticR, basically anywhere and everywhere across the internet. And if you're here on YouTube as well, please consider liking and subscribing and just telling everybody about us. And I hope we get a better outcome on Wednesday against the Blackhawks. I really hope we do. Anyways, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a good, fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. And we'll be back with you guys again when the Stars take on the Blackhawks on Wednesday.